Tariq, Ramadan, and Mark McGurley, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Mark, I want to start with you. Bringing Tariq here to the Seattle area is part of an effort, a book festival that you've scheduled here at Seattle University. But tell me what you're really trying to do with that as far as the types of authors and what you want to give to people that come to that gathering.
Oh, sure, Enrique. Actually, Professor Ramadan has a role in this. I've been at Seattle University for 3.5 years, and in my first year he was speaking at Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, and one of our assistant deans and myself went up and met with him very briefly. I don't know if you even remember this.
I remember that.
And we were very interested in beginning to intentionally move the School of Theology and Ministry into interreligious conversation and dialogue, but to do it at a pretty high level. So Professor Ramadan gave us a number of suggestions based on his 25 years of experience. That conversation has grown in a number of different directions. One has been to create a Search for Meaning book festival. And the idea behind the book festival is to bring together many voices, many religious and meaning worldviews, and to have us begin to learn how to talk across those worldviews. Tariq's been doing this for 25 years. 30 years. He's really one of the world's experts.
Yeah, you started at the top here.
Yes, we did.
We did. Well, let's talk about you coming to the United States. For one thing, you were banned from this country for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
And it had a lot to do with some of the things that you had said about the war in Iraq, positions about Islam and how people either view it or don't view it. How frustrating to be banned from this country to be able to come here and speak, because I know that you actually have been invited here by Notre Dame and others to teach and speak.
Yes, exactly. You know, it was a shock when I first heard that they revoked my visa. I was not really surprised afterward, coming from what was the Bush administration with all the opposing forces and voices. And still, the point for me is really to come to what I am trying to do, because in fact, it's not only to be critical towards, the administration when it comes to the war in Iraq, it's to say, but what am I trying to do, in fact? You are preventing someone who is saying, you and me, we are citizens in this country and we have shared values and we have to talk together. Instead of starting the otherness, you are the other, it's us versus them, it's us together. I'm advocating the new we. So you and me, in the name of our common citizenship, to come together with the same values and to say, okay, look, spirituality has a meaning, philosophy has a meaning. The quest for this meaning that you are talking about is so central to our life. So don't talk about the war on terror, talk about, knowing your enemies, and my enemy are the dogmatic minds, are poverty, they are this forgetfulness and neglecting the environment, and to come together. So someone who have been just all my life was for that, to get an administration to tell you we don't want you here, it says more about you than about me.
Your grandfather was one of the founders of the Muslim Brotherhood, which has been looked at as well, not in a very positive light.
Yes.
Not only during the days of the Bush administration, but others that are concerned about Islamic extremists, and in Egypt, and with all of the turmoil that has been happening there. How do you see their role in much of what is happening in the Middle East now?
Look, I think once again is you have to put things into context, and I was attacked because I am the grandson of someone that the great majority of the people who are attacking him haven't read him and they don't know about the history. And it's quite clear what we heard about all the story in Egypt is that quite clear that the great majority of the people, they don't know about him. It's just, Mubarak was saying that these are terrorists. Because he is saying this, we have to buy what he's saying. But he himself was a dictator. No, I mean Mubarak.
Yes,
so I think that we understand that the way he was playing with the opponents is just to portray them in a way which was to demonize them. My take on this is really to put things into context and to say he created a movement against colonialism, a non-violent legalist. Now, you might agree or not with, the Muslim Brotherhood. I'm not a member. I am critical of many of their views. But my position on this is, let us abide by our principles. Democracy means something. We have to be serious about it. We cannot just support dictators because it's our interest and the geostrategic interest. We have to come with the people when they are asking dignity, freedom, and respect. And the democracy that we want here, we have to export the principles. Let the people find their models. We don't want to impose. So to go in Iraq and to impose is not the way. So I think that, in fact, behind all this discussion about what is happening in, or what happened in the Middle East, or in Tunisia and in Egypt, and it could happen everywhere now in other countries, let us come to our responsibility. I don't want to sit as a spectator of this and just to say, okay, look, it's fine. No, let us as American citizens, European citizens, come to a better understanding of our values. So this is why, in fact, this is why I'm coming here. I'm coming here because I'm dealing with, people from other faiths sharing the same principles. And they are saying that we need to come to something which is deep faith means consistency. And consistency means critical thinking. And critical thinking means ask the question, deal with the problems, challenge the present to try to change the present for a better future.
Tunisia, Algeria, Mauritania, Yemen, Egypt. Egypt, as we are seeing in such a chaotic way and so much turmoil. What is happening here? Is it the people of those countries that are saying enough? And why now?
Now we don't know exactly why. It was unpredictable. It started with someone, a young guy, just killing himself and saying, I don't have enough to eat. This country doesn't give me the basic rights. They are not respecting me. And then it started like this, a mass protest. And what we have to understand now, and this is something that we want to say to Americans very often. I'm visiting the States very often now. I want to tell the people, look, you are dealing in the Arab countries and the Muslim majority countries with people that are like you. They want freedom, they want democracy, they want to eat, they want to be respected. And now they are using the same means as you. Social networks, knowing what the situation, this is what they want. So, and these are young people. And the great majority of them never heard or saw anything else but the Mubarak regime, for example, dictators. They want to just get rid of that. And I think that we have to respect this, and we have to stick to our principle and to listen to what he's saying, and not to reduce this to something which is a binary vision of the Arab world. It's between dictators and Islamists. This is not the reality. And this is why we have to come with, my feeling today is that as the citizens are looking at what is happening in the world, we need to be educated and informed about the complexity of the world. So this quest for meaning is a quest for a sense of complexity. It's complex. It's not as easy. When you are respecting me, if you have a sense that I'm as complex as you, don't simplify me in a way that I'm good when I think like you, I'm bad because I don't think like you.
It's not black and white.
Exactly, exactly. So this is the starting point of, within academia, with our discussion that we have and coming, when we started this project and what is done here is exactly this, is how do we educate ourselves to get something which is intellectual modesty, humility, and intellectual empathy. Just try to understand from where the people are thinking and what are the respective environments.
And I think what Tariq has written about too, I think relative to the binary mind, the dogmatic mind, is something that we in the United States have a problem with as well. So many of the conversations we need to have to solve the really critical political and economic problems that we have require us getting beyond that binary mind. We really have to hold more than one idea in our head at a time. And it's really difficult. I mean, as we know, you in the media, particularly the past couple of presidential elections, but the binary mind is obvious everywhere. So one of the roles we have to play in higher ed, we think at Seattle U, is to really make sure that we are challenging the whole environment in the United States, and particularly in the Puget Sound region for us, to really start thinking critically about some of the dogmas that may give meaning to our life, but oftentimes become projected into excluding others from even conversation.
Well, and to understand those, because as I said, I made the comment about being black and white. It's not.
Yes.
And there's a lot of nuances in all of this. As we look at what is happening, and I mentioned those various countries where there's this seismic shift going on. Do you see more of this happening? We look at the King of Jordan now as also trying to bring reforms there to Jordan. Syria is even looking at this. Are you seeing some seismic shift throughout the Middle East where there have been strongman rule?
Yes.
In the Arab world.
I think that after what happened in Tunisia, I was skeptical. I said, no, it could be just a very specific situation. But if really what is happening in Egypt, with all the nothing will be the same now. That the people now have the feeling that if you are, a peaceful mass protest against a dictator could happen anywhere. If Egypt is not safe and the dictator there is not safe, it could happen in Syria. And this is why they're all coming now with preemptive, reforms, saying, okay, we are going to change in Yemen. I'm not going to run again. My son is not going to come. The King Abdullah is changing his prime minister. So we have here a sense that something is happening in the Arab world. And for me, it's so positive. This is what we need. We need these countries just to move and to get rid of people being elected, democratically elected for life, and their son after them. That's not the rule of the game.
The future in all of this for the West, the United States, which has supported Mubarak for many years, mainly because he has been siding with us on dealing with Islamic extremism. And also Israel and all of this. What now?
First, I think that it's really time for the United States of America and the Western countries to understand that there is a shift in the international community and the political international relationships. That you have now new actors coming from South America, China, India, and others. They don't have the same legacy as the States and Europe there. And something could happen that if you don't deal with these people, with the same principles on an equal footing with the people, and not to support only the people who are protecting your interests and your geostrategic interests, or Israel saying that the only way for Israel to be secure is to be surrounded by dictators, I say that's wrong. The only way for you to be secure is to be surrounded by democracies and to get peace with people, not with dictators. This is the future. This is the long-term thing. And I would say that, having said that now, we should say this to the American government, but we also have to do something with the American citizens. Because at the end of the day, what we should do here is much more education. I am meeting so many Americans. They don't know about the situation. They just, okay, they are open-minded in a very closed world. Let us open the doors, let us open the windows and come to this. And the starting point could be in education and in our universities. And this is why the critical thinking we are talking about, this dialogue that we are talking about, should be there. It's an act of resistance for our universities to train our students and the public and the citizens just to think and not to be driven by emotion. The most important danger of our time is emotional politics. This is very dangerous.
And is that your role now at the university?
Oh, yes, very, very much so.
And you want to build on that?
We do, and in Tariq's latest book, A Quest for Meaning, which fits very nicely with the title of our book festival, he actually speaks of that, kind of that battle between emotional knowing and intellectual knowing, which is something that I think, in particular, at this moment in history, the power of our media has allowed to develop new technologies for eliciting emotion from us. And oftentimes to come to conclusions about complex issues, which really you need to step back from, and you need to really listen to many different people and their perspectives.
Listening, I think that's what it's all about. Gentlemen,
that's true.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.